Here's a story of how I got accepted to Harvard but couldn't go because I didn't know that I was accepted until 6 years later. So, to start off the story, I was born in Korea, and I'm sure you guys know that Korea is a very academically intense country. And I was also one of those academically competitive child. And you might think it's because my parents are very strict. But my parents actually never told me to study or pressured me. I always just had a really strong academic motivation. I never figured out why. I think there's multiple reasons. I think I was just competitive. I like the compliments and sense of approval from teachers and parents. And I think I just enjoyed studying. Well, that continued even after I moved to America. So once I got to high school, I got my first report card back and it said number 1 out of 770. I became the school valedictorian. So for anyone who might not know this term, it means I had the highest grade compared to anybody in the grade. And the funny story here is, do you know the anime Death Note? One of my favorite animes of all time is Death Note, and in the show, there's a character named Yagami Laito, and he's a psychopath murderer who kills people with this deadly note. He also turns out to be handsome, attractive, and most importantly, valedictorian. So, because I liked Yagami Laito so much, I wanted to be him. Time passed, and once I reached junior year of my high school, I started applying to colleges. And now, before I proceed the story any further, I want to talk about this idea of expectation. We all have different expectation, and that's what makes us happy and disappointed. Well, my expectation was set high because there was a previously given data. In my high school, if you're within the top 50 rankings, then you had a pretty good chance at an Ivy League college. And if you were within the top 10 rank, then you were pretty much guaranteed at a top Ivy League college. This is the data that existed since the grade above and above and above and above. On top of that, I qualified for this national scholarship called QuestBridge, where it would cover all my tuitions if I got accepted to any Ivy League school. So, with the very high expectation, the day of the college results came out. And guess what? I got waitlisted from every single Ivy League college. So at that moment, when I was 17 is a very young age, and for someone who have only been running for this for their entire life, these rejections and waitlist really felt like my entire life was being denied. Not to mention, on top of that, rank 2 got accepted to Princeton, rank 3 got accepted to Yale, rank 10 got accepted to Harvard, rank 31 got accepted to Yale. You get the idea. This is when my mind started crumbling down, but I couldn't give up, right? So I wrote appeal letters to the schools that I especially wanted to get in, such as Harvard, because I also got waitlisted from Harvard. But after a few months, I haven't heard anything back. And in the meantime, I got acceptance letter from Berklee College of Music. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a contemporary music school. Basically, it's a school for a musician. And the reason why I applied here is because starting around 10th, 11th grade, I started developing this heavy interest of becoming a musician. But practically, I knew like musician, that is the worst career choice you can make. By the way, my parents don't oppose anything. I just wanted to clarify. I just thought I worked this hard all these years. I am not going to waste my life becoming a musician. And I just know by nature how competitive that field is. And for someone like me who doesn't have any musical background, no way. Then, while I was applying to Harvard, I realized there was a program called Harvard-Berkeley Joint Program. What this program is that if you get accepted to both college, you could attend both college at the same time. Because they're only like 15 minutes apart. But guess what happened? I got accepted to Berkeley, but not Harvard. And now, at this point, I had an option between choosing to go to Berkeley and taking a full gamble into becoming a musician, or going to a college that isn't my dream school like Harvard, which would have been Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is a great school, guys. It's really great school. NYU, Georgia Tech, these are great schools. But again, with this idea of expectation, I didn't want to face the reality that I couldn't get accepted to my dream school. So I basically ran away. This is me being really honest. I ran away because if I can't be the best in this academic field, I'd rather do something I love. So I chose the music school, only to discover that I did not need to go to the school for me to become a musician. And after 6 years of all of this happening, I became a musician. Now I make piano music and I sing. Then, a few days ago, the topic of acceptance or rejection came up during my stream. So I said, oh guys, do you guys want to see my waitlist letter from Harvard? Because, being honest, I still had inferiority complex left behind it. My mind hasn't completely left there yet. It still hurted me after all those years. So I was going through my emails, and I go back to 2019. Then I see this email from Harvard that I never opened. Why is there an email from Harvard that I haven't opened yet? No. This just can't be real, or else I'm gonna... The email was about a status change of my waitlisting. And mind you, when Harvard notifies their applicants, if you have been rejected, they say, unfortunately, you have been rejected. And when you're accepted, they tell you your status has changed. Check your letters. But again, this is not 100% confirmation, right? So I looked through the emails a little more. Then I find this email around June, which is a few months before entering the college, saying, confirm your application for Harvard. Crazy part is this email is red, but I don't have any memory of reading this email because at that time, I was already too busy figuring out my financial situation for Berkeley, as well as moving to Boston. So to summarize the situation, in May 15th of 2019, I got accepted to the Harvard, but I missed that email. And on June, they asked for confirmation to confirm Harvard if I'm going or not. And I read that, but I didn't comprehend it, and I moved on. And after 6 years, now I found out. Then it gives me flashbacks to these different memories. While I was attending Berkeley, mind you, Berkeley is 15 minutes drive from Harvard. I had few people that went to Harvard. One time, my friend took me to Harvard campus because Harvard campus is open to outside people. And I was eating at one of their cafeteria. Then, one of my high school classmates walks up to me and says, "Oh, Hyo-sang, I didn't know you also came to Harvard." And mind you, everyone at the school, especially at the top rank, knew that I was valedictorian. It was a public information. So, when they saw me sitting in Harvard cafeteria, they thought, he came to Harvard too. So I had to tell them, no, I just came to visit. I go to Berkeley. And here's the thing, Berkeley is a great school, but again, I already felt that I wasn't qualified enough to be in Harvard. And the friend just said, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Have a fun time. And then they left. And in another time, my friend in Harvard gave me a campus tour. And here's the thing, the whole time I was hanging out, I had to try really hard to not say, by the way, I was waitlisted to Harvard, so I could have also went here. Because if I say it, imagine how petty that would look, right? And while they were showing me the cafeteria and the school and dorms, I just kind of thought, so if I was a little better, I could have went to the school. And at Harvard dorm, it's illegal to bring outside people that's not Harvard students. So the RA was checking if I was Harvard student or not, and I had to act as if I'm a Harvard student. And now that I look back at that moment, it's pure comedy. So when I first discovered this fact a few days ago, I was just losing my mind. And I mean it. I was about to genuinely lose my mind and go insane. When I was in 5th grade, I read a book called How to Send Your Kids to Harvard because I wanted to go to Harvard. Imagine you grow up, you get rejected, find out 6 years later, you actually got accepted. And people say, hey, at least you got your experience at music school. Like I said earlier, because I applied for the joint program, if I got accepted to Harvard, I would have went to both schools. And tuition, I had a scholarship that covers the entire tuition. Initially, I felt really mad at myself 6 years ago for not checking that email. How could I have missed this email? How? How is this possible? How is this possible? So I had 2 chances because I'm not a type of person to make this kind of mistake. But I think the reason is because, like I said, I was already so heartbroken by all the rejections. And especially, I got rejected from colleges that are less competitive than Harvard. So in my mind, I automatically thought, if I got rejected from Duke, no way I got accepted in Harvard. I was just losing confidence in real time. I thought, see, I'm bad at English. Why did I ever think that I'll be accepted to any of these colleges? Then some time passed, and I started to get really sad because I could never go back and experience that campus life that I dreamed of. Then I started thinking, I'm slightly proud of myself because all those times that I felt like I wasn't worthy enough for this college, I was. And I know for some people it might just be like, it's just a college. But it meant so much to me. For me, it meant a lot. And then I started to feel like this whole situation is just funny. I have never heard of a musician who got accepted to Harvard, then missed the email. I've never heard anyone say this kind of story. And actually, not even a musician. I've never heard anybody. And here's the really important thing. Before opening that email versus after opening that email, nothing changed with my life. Nothing. That invitation expired 6 years ago. I've already graduated college. I already became a musician. Imagine how petty I would look if I go outside and start crying. Guys, I got accepted to Harvard, but I didn't know it, so I couldn't go. People would be like, okay, who cares? None of my business. But that's what I'm doing right now. Because why? I felt like if no one knows about this, I would just be so sad. So that's why I'm telling you guys this story. I don't expect anything out of this beside the fact that I wish someone heard this story. On a good note, I genuinely enjoy my life right now. I don't regret becoming a musician, although it wasn't a choice. If I'm being honest, I don't know how to feel right now. I might need few days, actually a few years, to even fully comprehend this feeling. Thank you so much for listening, and I mean it.